Hi everybody. Welcome to Module 10 of Market Research. In this module, we're going to look at researching market segments. It's a very important core strategy. We, as market researchers, we want to understand various customer segments or groups of customers and understand what they like, what they don't like about certain products, what's important, what's not important. And we need a very detailed, rich, in-depth understanding of each segment. So an example of the types of differences that we can understand is things like, for example, attitudes towards locally grown food. Is there a difference between how men and women feel about locally grown food? That's one difference that we could look at. Or we could look at a difference by income or maybe by where people live. So there's many differences that we can look at. So we're going to learn how to do that using Excel Data Analyst in this segment. And of course, our differences have to be meaningful. What that means is that they have to be statistically significant to the 95% confidence level. And Excel data will show us that. We're going to do, as I was saying, using Excel data. And also we're going to use the file in Module 10 on Slate called College Life Survey Lots of Data. And here's a few more examples of differences that we could research using our data and Excel Data Analyst. For example, is there a difference in how men and women respond to the auto questions? Is there a difference between how men and women feel about autos and how important they are? We can run a test to find out. Again, we also have to think about two things. Of course, our results have to be statistically significant, but also they have to be practically significant. You have to use your common sense also. Is it useful? Is it trivial due to the small sample size, or is it really something that we could use in marketing? So there's two, when we look at relationships, it depends on the type of question really. For example, if we were looking at metric questions, we were looking at the differences in the levels. And if we're looking at categorical questions, we're looking at differences in the labels. So that's another thing that's important to think about. And so for example, we're going to use the cross-tabulation analysis. And what that means is the data is going to be, we can compare data in row and column format. And then we'll look at the results in the frequency table. And I'll show you an example very soon. So this particular slide is really, really important because it shows you the three different types of tests that we're going to use with Excel Data Analyst. And what you need to do is really summarized in this slide, and then the following slides go into more detail. So when you have questions that you want to run significant tests on, first you have to categorize or label your question. Is it a categorical question like a yes, no, or a multiple choice question? Or is it a metric question, which means it's like usually has a scale from maybe unimportant to very important, or not frequent to very frequent, a scale type question. So if you're comparing two questions that are both categorical, then in Excel Data Analyst we run crosstabs. Again, I'll show you how to do this. If you're comparing a categorical versus a metric question, looking for differences, then we have to run something called ANOVA and then do the crosstabs. Finally, if we are looking for differences in two questions which are both metric, then we want to use the Excel Data Analyst function called correlate. So in the next video, I'm going to run through an example of the categorical versus categorical case.